Hey guys, and welcome to Top Channel 101, and today we're going to take a look at this free texturing tool called Instamat. It has been updated to a 2026 version, and I'm loving what they are doing. It's a free texturing tool that works similar to Substance Painter and Substance Designer. It's basically a combination of the different applications, and it comes at a great time where Epic Games announced they're shutting down Quicksaw Mixer. A Quicksaw Mixer was this tool that lets you mix PBR textures and also do some texturing. It was all free, but Epic Games this month decided to shut it down. So this Instamat update comes at a really good time where people are looking for an alternative. And I'm going to go through a tutorial just showing you the basics and how to use it. As you can see in the demo, it's a quite powerful tool. Now, it's not completely free because if you make over 100,000 US dollars, you have to buy a license for it. But I think most of us are not in that category. It comes with all features you expect from Substance Designer, Substance Painter, because you can also create your own procedure materials like PBR. If you didn't know, most PBR materials you download are usually procedurally created through Substance Designer. And with this Insta Studio or Instamat, it also has all the tools necessary to create these types of procedural materials. It also has an image to PBR material converter, as you'll see in the tutorial. I guess we can jump right into that. You can go to the link in the description to download it for free. After installing it, you will come to this page. You can see they have a bunch of tutorials if you want to go through those to get familiar with the interface. But let me just take you through quickly how this works. So just create a new project. So what you're downloading is Insta Studio, which combines the different applications. Like I said, it works like Substance Painter, Substance Designer, and even Quicksaw Mixer. So the first application or the first project you can create is the asset texturing, which is just your traditional texturing, similar to what you get with a Substance Painter. And then you have material layering. This is the main feature of Quicksaw Mixer. So just mixing different PBR textures into different layers. And then you have materializer, which can convert any image into a PBR material, basically separating the different maps, the diffuse, roughness, normal map, and others. And then you have the element graph. This is basically Substance Designer, where you can design your own procedure tools and procedure materials, or even create PBR materials out of different nodes. There are also other features like NPass, autographs. I rarely use these. I mainly focus on these four when I'm working on anything. So consider Insta Studio or Instamat as a combination of Substance Painter, Substance Designer, Materializer, and then Element Graph is basically, the Substance Designer. So let's just go with asset texturing, which is what most of you use. And just create a new project. If you want to import in your own mesh, you just go to the mesh here and select file location, and you can select your object. You can say it supports a lot of different files from FBX, USD, and others. But I want to go simple, so I'm just going to select from their template. I can pick from their packages. I'll just get this Instamat icon, and then now I can go to create project without template. You can use their templates, but I'm just going to do something basic. And now we have an interface. You see right away that it's kind of similar to Substance Designer, but with a few changes. Their layer system is right here. The materials are going to be here, and you have your main settings here, and your libraries and other things. So the first thing you usually do when it comes to texturing objects in these types of applications is bake the different maps you need. The ambient occlusion, the cavity, curvature, and others. So to do that, you just go here under material selection and then do the bake mesh data. Clicking on that will get you this menu. I don't really have to worry about this. I'm just going to change this to GPU so that I get a faster bake. And you can change the width. I'm going to leave mine to 1024, and now just hit the bake button. And the bake seems to be done. So I'm just going to go out of that. So to start working on this, you can just go here in this panel here and create a new material. You can start with a multi-channel layer, which is basically a solid layer. If you click on that, you get your layer here with the different settings. So you have your projection, and if you click on this, you will get the material parameters. So I can change the color and I can go to the settings to change the projection, but since this is a solid color, it doesn't really matter. Now for your 3D view controls, you can hold down Alt and you'll get this pop-up that shows you the combinations that you can use with your Alt button held down. But when you hold it down, you can use your right mouse button to orbit and use your left mouse button to zoom in and zoom out. If you hold on Control, you can hold on your middle mouse button and pan the view, but you can also see the different combinations you can use with the Control button. So it's basically what you normally use in most 3D applications. You can also hold on Shift and drag your right mouse button to change the rotation of your lighting or the HDRI in the background. So let's start working on this and set up some materials. We have already baked the maps, so let's go directly and create a new material. So you can see this also works with the PBR workflow. You can see the different layers or maps. We have the base, height, roughness, metalness, and normal map. Right now we have added a fill layer or a color layer to the base color. If you want this to be metallic, we can go to the metalness and expand this and just add a fill layer to it as well. I want this to be fully metallic, so I'll just change this slider to metal, and you can see that this also changes. I can go to the roughness and add a fill layer as well and make this very reflective or not that reflective. You can also use graphs, which are basically procedural textures. If you click on this to add a graph resource, and you can click on the edit to select a graph object you want. You can add, let's add this noise, so double click on it and it should add the noise you want. So this is anisotropic noise, and I can just play with the seed, the orientation, and basically any setting I want. I can remove that and add something else. Let's see, and just reduce the scaling, play with the seed, and you can see how you can easily layer the different materials. Instamat also comes with its own library of materials, so you can go to the plus button here and just add an element layer, and this will open up a library for your materials. So you can just select a material like that and it should be loaded in. You now have a brick material. You can use masks similar to how Substance Designer works. You have filters, generators, and masks as well. So you can select a polygon mask, mesh mask, and a lot of others. Or you can select one from the library and it just gives you these icons that you can pick from. I also have generators. For example, if I want to add that, I can easily do that using this generator. So I've added it directly into the base color, but you can also change, you also have blending modes for the base color. So I can set these to multiply maybe. You can see that the brick is now starting to come through a bit, so I can reduce the opacity of these bits. There are also other buttons here that you can explore, but since this was just a quick update about the tool, I'm just going to end the tutorial here. Since we are talking about texturing, and don't forget to get my add-on. I'm constantly updating it. It's called True Image Editor, and it lets you do the texturing directly in Blender. For example, if I wanted to add a logo to this here, show you how quickly it is to work with this add-on. So I'm just going to go to the grind maps. I'm going to get a Blender logo. I want to add it here, so I think the UV map for this is this. So I can just come into this and place it just about there. I've also added generators and textures, procedural textures. So if I go to the mask, I can add a new noise, and that should break up this. I can, let's see, let me increase the scale or reduce the scale to, and increase the contrast. Totally different type of texture. I can now go to the outputs and bake this. Import. And we have that. So I can just use a mix color. Anyway, if you want to check out my add-on, links are also in the description.